Crowhill here. Today we review a homebrew and ask, can empathy be taken too far? Hey, Pigweed.
Good evening, Crowhill. How about some beer and conversation?
That sounds like a great idea. What are we drinking?
This is something I brewed myself.
All right,
It's,
fantastic.
IPA. We'll talk about
All
it.
right, fantastic.
What's on your mind?
Well, I found out recently that Mrs. Crowhill has an illness, and it's going to require a fair amount of money to take care of it. But then I saw this video about these poor, suffering children in Afghanistan who don't have anything.
Yeah.
And I decided I'm not going to pay for Mrs. Crowhill's surgery. I can pay for one person getting better, or I can pay for like 1,000 people getting better.
Yeah, I mean, that's like a utilitarian argument there. Like, well, who benefits more?
Exactly. So I'm not doing it. I'm giving the money to the Afghanistan Relief Corps to take care of these kids over there.
I mean, I get the reasoning, but that's a bad decision.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, trust me.
Okay.
It's not going to go over well in a lot of circles.
Well, yeah, I know, but still, you have to do the math, right?
No.
No? No, you don't? No?
No. I can take the math out of this one here.
Okay.
Yeah. That's too much.
All right. Well, we'll have to talk about that
Okay.
some more,
Yeah.
but okay. All right, so what is this?
So, it's baseball season,
Yeah.
and Union Brewery does the Steady Eddie about with Eddie Murray and a bunch of stats and facts, and I just love that IPA.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how close I am. I've never drank them side by side, but I got the ingredients and the hops off the website, and this is my stab at a Steady Eddie.
And there's a little bit of orange going on in here, right?
No, well, it might but there could be coming from the hops, the citrusy hops.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, less aroma than I expect, but really good flavor.
Yes, it
really
is.
Good
so
flavor.
It calls for a Zaka and Green Bullet. Well, never heard of either of those, but they only had Green Bullet, and I went with, you can't go wrong with Centennial. So I did Centennial and Green Bullet, and it's got some honey malt.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
it's got a really good flavor, and there's also almost a stickiness to it. You know what I mean?
Yes. It does not have that clean, empty finish.
No.
It's a little cloying in a good way.
Little cloying, yep. But not too much. It's not like you're drinking pine sap.
It lingers around the back of your throat when you swallow, and I like that.
All right. So empathy. What are we talking about?
So we're talking about empathy here, and empathy is what?
So empathy is being able to identify with somebody else's feelings and have sympathetic feelings for somebody else.
All right. So what? Well, you said it yourself. What is sympathy as opposed to empathy?
Yeah. So sympathy and empathy, and what's the other one? There's an empath. So an empath is someone who feels another person's emotions, and being sympathetic means that you kind of come alongside the other person's emotions.
You feel sorry for it. You recognize their suffering.
Right.
Where empathy is you can
actually
imagine.
feel it. Yeah, you can sort of. So there was of course a Star Trek episode about the empath who could feel other people's emotions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Troy?
No, this is the original series.
Oh, okay.
It was probably the most low-budget Star Trek original series thing they ever did.
But was it the same people that Troy is?
No, actually, it was somebody completely different. Yeah.
Okay.
So Troy was a Betazoid, and
Betazoid,
their whole race could feel other people's emotions. This was somebody else entirely. I'm not sure I'd want that.
That's right.
Yeah. That
Well, but was it in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe? Wasn't there was a race that was punished by being able to read each other's minds?
Oh my gosh!
Rob, could you imagine how horrible trying to go through life?
Did you see
everybody could read everybody else's mind?
Did you see the Mel Gibson movie? I think it was called What a Woman Wants, and he's a marketing guy. He's a marketing guy, and he's supposed to sell women's products.
And that's his special because somehow he gets the secret power.
Yeah, so he's trying to understand what a woman's attitude is towards these products. So he's taking a bubble bath and shaving his legs, trying to understand what a woman, and the hairdryer falls into the tub and zaps him. Okay, and now he can hear what women are thinking.
Yeah, and it's not good.
It's not good. It's actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Okay, so in an evolutionary psychology sense, this would have developed for a reason.
Yeah.
And for a very good reason. You can imagine this work, right?
Yeah, so my ridiculous story, which is of course not true, but I said at the beginning, was to emphasize that our sphere of empathy is structured, right? It's family, community, nation, outsiders.
Yeah. It's concentric circles.
Yeah, exactly. So when it's my grandson's birthday, I give him a gift. I don't give a gift to the kid down the street when it's his birthday.
A perfectly nice kid.
Right. He's a fine kid, but I'm not going to give him a birthday present. I'm certainly not going to give some kid in China a birthday present.
And if the two of them are playing inside of a burning house, you probably grab it, and you can only grab one kid.
Yes, and if you have a hard time understanding that, then I'm sorry, you're got a problem, because that
your
is
empathy,
just like, your empathy is off. Your empathy meter is wrong.
Yes.
Because it is perfectly normal. This is why people who don't understand the concept of patriotism, right? Obviously, you have a closer affiliation with your family, your community, your nation, than you do with people somewhere else.
I'm an internationalist.
Yeah. Okay.
I think of all people all the time.
Right. Well, what you're telling me is that you're mentally unbalanced, is really what you're telling me. So, we obviously have a more of a reason. And so let's take this back to evolutionary psychology. Why would that be? Because I'm more likely to be genetically related to... So if you think of life from an evolutionary psychology perspective, you kind of think of life as, what are the things that I need to do to pass on my genes?
Exactly.
Right? And so I not only want to pass on my genes, but I want the other people who have my genes to succeed.
Right. So when the saber-toothed tiger comes in, and you can only scoop up so many kids.
Right. I'm going to get the ones who are closer related to more close. So the idea that you would sacrifice for your near kin more than you would sacrifice for a stranger makes perfect sense from an evolutionary psychology perspective, because you're trying to save your own genes, which is kind of the whole point of life from that perspective. So, empathy would develop because you want to feel fellow feelings with people who are close to you. And to some extent, like I would prefer a human to a gorilla, right? So even if this human is from way far away from me, I'm still going to prefer him to an alien or to a gorilla or to a...
And there's also a little bit of, how do you say, like, relatability. Like you... what's the...
Yes, so you go to another country and you meet somebody who's an American and you feel closer to them, right? Yeah, you relate to them more.
So, just on a little bit of a tangent, well, we're going to get to Gad Saad here in a minute, and we had a discussion about autism and the fact that there was no blood test or something to put under a microscope. Yeah. And so how do you know? And Gad Saad said that what they use, there's an empathy template or it's not a test, something like that, but that they do very poorly on this empathy. It's difficult for them to put themselves in the position of how would another person would feel, and I was like, it kind of makes sense, yeah. So from what I understand, that's part of it. All right. There are other things. So it has to do with, what is it? Theory of mind. Yeah, theory of mind.
Yeah. When you're an infant, if you don't like broccoli, then you assume that everybody doesn't like broccoli.
Okay, yeah.
And it's only at a certain stage of development that you can understand, well, I don't like broccoli, but that crazy person does like broccoli.
Right. And that thing does not develop as well in an autism.
It's just in some cases, right. Yeah, so it's a theory of mind thing, and it's also an empathy. It's a bunch of different factors. But so the idea is, if you don't develop that theory of mind or that empathy, you're going to be a little bit off from other people in the way they evaluate things.
Right. So Gad, his name really is Gad Saad with 2 A's. Yeah. He's a Canadian professor and evolutionary psychologist, right?
Lebanese Jew, I think.
A Lebanese Jew who came here as a young person and just one tangent here. We talked about when we did Nabokov's book and how mad I was that English was his second language.
Right, and he still wrote so well.
Gad Saad is so articulate and so smart and has a better vocabulary than I do.
And it's not his first language.
It probably went Arabic, French, and he probably went Hebrew, Arabic, French, and then somewhere along the way English.
Yeah.
And it's better than mine. So
I know.
Anyway, congratulations
smart
to
guy,
you.
Yes.
Gad Saad.
Smart guy.
And this, he's got a book, and we're back here. It's called Suicidal Empathy.
Right.
And he kind of coined the phrase, and let's talk about that.
Sure. Yeah. So any virtue taken too far causes trouble.
Right.
So like anything that's a good thing, if you go too far, it's gonna mess you up. And empathy can be the same way. And sometimes people forget that you can take something like kindness. You know, kindness can go too far. Sometimes, like with parents, sometimes parents have to have tough love, right? You know.
Yeah.
And so empathy can go so far that you're actually hurting yourself and others by being too empathic for people that you really shouldn't be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, so how about the peacock metaphor?
Right.
So he uses this as a kind of to sort of introduce the idea of somebody being, dangerously. What's it called? Costly signaling. So
yes. So the whole idea of the peacock's tail is that the male is signaling to the female, because the peacock's tail is a stupid thing. It makes it hard to get around. It makes it hard.
You're a giant, delicious-looking bird that doesn't want to get eaten. Not a good idea.
No, because it makes it harder for you to get around. It makes it harder for you to fly. It makes it harder for you to escape from predators. Basically what the peacock is signaling is, I'm such a badass that even with this ridiculous tail, I've survived this far, and I'm doing okay.
And the chicks are going, well, this
I guess you must be a badass.
He must have something going on, even though he's taking it to a dangerous level.
Yeah. So the point. I think the reason he ties that in with the suicidal empathy concept is that you can take something can go off into a crazy direction. Like there were these elk. I think they're Irish elk that had these antlers that were enormously large, just 10 feet going in each direction. Yes. Totally unrealistic and impractical.
Yes, but for a guy walking through the woods,
yes,
seems a little cumbersome.
Yes, but it was a matter of sexual selection where something that became a signal for fitness, right? So a female would say, I only want to mate with a fit male.
Yeah. And
the antler was like a signal for that, to say, here's a very fit male. And then that goes crazy, and it becomes a spiral, and it gets to the point where you just have these enormous, ridiculous antlers. Well, the peacock is sort of the same way. And empathy can become the same way, where it's a good thing, but when it gets selected for too much, it can become a, not such a good thing.
Yes, and I think what this not good thing is, so there's virtue signaling. Mm-hmm. There's a person with 18 different bumper stickers on their car about how much I care.
Yes.
And I care so much, I'll do this, and I'll spend all afternoon making a hateful sign, and I'll walk out in the cold. Mm-hmm. Look at me.
Aren't I great?
So yes. that's like ground level virtue signaling.
Yes.
Suicidal empathy is when you've now taken it to the point where it's costly to you.
Yes.
And to your neighbors. And
so, for example, having more empathy for immigrants than for natural-born people. Yeah. So let's go back to empathy has to exist within hierarchy, right? It was the same example I had with Mrs. Crowhill, right? I obviously have more empathy for my wife than I have for kids in Afghanistan. And maybe that's cruel, maybe that's heartless from some crazy point of view, but from a human point of view, that makes perfect sense.
Yes.
So empathy has to exist in this hierarchy. When you eliminate the hierarchy and you start to have empathy for the people way over there more than the people right here, so that you prefer some person who just came off a boat from Somalia over the person who lives next door to you,
Right.
then that's suicidal empathy.
That's suicidal empathy, but it's often by people who know that Somali is not going to be in their neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
They live somewhere else, and when they're pressed at these things, I don't know if you've seen some of these funny ones where a guy comes up with a microphone, tells them how wonderful they are, and says, "Okay, I've got Juan and Abdul.
Can they move in?
They need a place to stay.
Can they stay in your house?
You know, we just don't have a lot of room."
Do you remember when a bunch of immigrants tried to move into Martha's Vineyard?
Oh my God! I don't know why.
And they were kicked out like that.
So fast. I mean, it was I don't know. Was it Texas that flew them in?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. And
just to teach them a lesson.
And
but they were too stupid to learn it.
No, exactly. Yeah. Nobody points to that. Well, I mean, you try to point to it, but they just shrug it off like, well, of course not.
Of course not. Those are rich, horrible people. But
so
it's all
okay
fine
for them to live in your neighborhood.
Yes, it's all fine when you're imposing it on somebody else.
Or when 1,000 Venezuelans move into a town of 5,000 in rural Texas. Yeah. And it doesn't go well.
But here's
they're eating the pets.
But your example of Juan, okay, you agree that we should take in these people? Okay, so you have an extra bedroom. We put Juan in your bedroom? Okay.
When I say we, I don't mean me.
No, not me. But there are examples in terms of Gad Saad's suicidal empathy of people who do that, who are so stuck on this idea of I need to have empathy for these people I have no relationship whatsoever with. They're from a foreign country, and they're moving into my country.
These fake boomer empaths.
Mm-hmm.
This is just fake virtue signaling. But yes, there are plenty of instances
where they invite somebody into their house,
and it's literally suicidal.
Yes, or they get raped, or they get kicked out of their house, or something. Where this person who comes from a completely different culture, has completely different values, comes into their house, they invite them into their house, and then that person takes over, steals from them, kicks them out of their own home, and then they're left on the street because the person they were trying to help is now...
Yeah, here, how about, we've got a Tolkien reference here. Explain to me this meme here.
Okay.
Some medieval women.
No. This looks like Rohan. These are the riders of Rohan, and this is Aowen and some other people in Rohan, and they're saying orcs welcome.
It's all women.
Yeah, all women
with the trans flag.
Yeah, orcs welcome, and then a few years later, we don't feel safe because it's all burned down.
Yeah, it's all burned down. There's only 3 of them.
And there's only 3 of them because they killed the other 2.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Then I've got the Swedish politician who fought for equality and open borders. Is beheaded in the Congo,
right?
Or I saw one woman was trying to combat the idea that the streets are not safe in wherever they are in Germany. So she goes out with a camera and a microphone and is assaulted on camera.
Yeah.
Many such is. Where's my?
There's suicide. So there's a combination of 2 things here. There's suicidal empathy and there's suicidal naivety. And I remember a long time ago, I knew this young woman who decided she had an old car that wasn't particularly reliable, and she was going to drive across the country by herself in this old car. Yeah. And a friend and I were trying to convince her out of this, that we're going to read stories about you being mutilated on the side of the road in Kansas because of this. So there's this suicidal naivety that says, I'm going to believe the best, people are nice. And yes, 9 out of 10 people are nice.
And they are nice. And but it's also sort of, I imagine, a hint of feminist, I can do anything that you can do.
There's probably some of that. Yeah. Yeah, so the thing is, yes, 9 out of 10 people are nice, but 1 out of 10 people will murder you, or maybe it's 1 out of 100, whatever it is. And so it's the naivety, and it's also the suicidal empathy, saying I need to treat these other people who I don't know, who don't share my values, who have nothing to do with me. I need to treat them the same way I'd treat my brother.
How about these boneheads in France? So a Rwandan national is in jail for setting fire to a cathedral Well, the Catholic community of Montfort missionaries, after his release, they bring him in.
Mm-hmm.
And he murders the priest.
Of course.
So there you go. How about this? How about that nut job, Katie Wilson, the mayor of Seattle?
Oh.
There's a little bit of Schadenfreude when I see
somebody
Mondami,
yeah, right.
and when I see their cities ruined. Mm-hmm. But you know what I mean, which is terrible because
it is terrible. Because I don't want New York ruined.
There are a lot of good people who are having their health and their property jeopardized. But I just think, well, you asked for it.
Yeah.
You people, you voted for this.
Yes.
And what is the H.L. Mencken quote is that democracy is the idea that people know what they want and they should get it good and hard. So when I see stuff like this, I'm like, you're getting it, and you're getting it good and hard. So a Somali migrant brutally beats and attacks a 77-year-old man unprovoked.
Wow.
It's caught on surveillance camera, and she says that she thinks they should turn off surveillance cameras because they might endanger refugees and migrants.
Wow.
I mean, if your argument was that we live in a surveillance state and I don't think everybody should be filmed all the time. Yeah. No. The only problem is it might show migrants
to be the jerks that they are.
To harming the citizens that voted for me.
Right.
And so let me petition to
Yeah.
Thanks.
So there are so many examples of this kind of suicidal empathy. Obviously, we've talked about prioritizing aliens over Americans, which is stupid. There's giving too much leniency to criminals, like that guy on the train who killed that Ukrainian woman, right?
Yeah.
He'd been arrested 47 times or something.
There's a story once a week. There's a story of somebody doing something terrible with. Really, you would think that 8 crimes would be a lot, but people are in the 40s, in the 50s.
Right. And the judges let them go because they think they're giving them a second chance. It's not a second chance; it's a 47th chance.
It's a 47th. Adam Smith, mercy to the guilty is cruelty to the innocent.
Yes. So this gets us into suicidal empathy is pretty clear. There's all these different examples where we're being too sensitive to other people's feelings to our own harm.
Yes.
But that leads us also to the weaponization of empathy.
Yeah. And that's right. That's where we've got now where we are going. So we have chosen this, but now I'm going to cram it down your throat and call you horrible names for not going along with my level of empathy.
You're heartless, you're immoral, you're xenophobic, you're racist, you're whatever else, because you don't think that people you have nothing to do with, who aren't part of your culture, you have nothing in common with, should be treated the same way as your neighbors.
Yes, and that you and your fellow taxpayers should subsidize their lives here.
Yeah, and this emotional framing of compassion for these other people, and obviously we should have compassion for other people, and we should help other people, but within a hierarchy. And that's the problem, is they eliminate the hierarchy, and they try to say that the same rules should apply to your family, to your neighbor, to your close kin, as apply to somebody who has nothing in common with you at all.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like the misplaced empathy of childless women.
Well, there is a tendency for women to have more empathy than men, which is a good thing.
Which is a super good thing.
Yes, they have to be that way because women are
men are out there, fighting off the wolves, and invading tribes and whatever else, and you need to be back here, comforting and protecting, and
taking care of kids.
Yeah, so it's a normal and natural.
It's a normal and natural thing, but when it becomes elevated too far, it becomes a dangerous thing.
And it does seem that in these anti-ICE protests are a bunch of overweight women literally trying to fight cops. I don't know where this came from. I think it's Marvel movies or something that women literally physically think that they can fight, just fight people.
Right.
First of all, there's not even recognizing the simple consequences of doing this.
Yeah.
That's weird. But also the idea that you're actually going to do any real damage.
Yeah.
Before you're thrown to the ground.
Yeah, it's so silly. I mean, for one thing, men, generally speaking, are stronger than women. Cops, generally speaking, are stronger than most men. Yeah. And they've been trained in techniques to fight. And they have weapons. Like the idea that you're going to win fighting against a cop, you're
right. You're lucky that all you're going to do is be thrown to the ground and handcuffed because they have other options.
They have other options to deal with you.
That's not going to be good either.
Right.
So that's the suicidal empathy is bad, but it does tend to be disproportionately women and feminized liberal men.
Yes.
Who have this outsized compassion, but it's not even compassion. This weird suicidal empathy that you'd be willing to endanger your nation with immigrants, endanger your community with
or even your family,
crime.
even your own family. Endanger your own family because I'm going to bring this illegal immigrant to come and live in my house with my wife and my children because I'm so compassionate. Yeah. It's like, really?
And they get moved into lower income areas.
Right.
And they don't affect your lives, and so that's kind of not even a costly.
It's forcing empathy on unfortunate people. It's funny because liberals are always complaining about how the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, and the rich have all these benefits and everything, but they're doing exactly the same thing when in these situations where they say, yes, we want to bring in all these immigrants, but please put them over there.
Yeah.
In the poor neighborhoods. So I'm going to push back a little bit on this.
Good.
Because this concept of weaponization, the weaponization of empathy is obviously a real problem when we see that all the time. But other things that are natural human reactions can also be weaponized, like fear, anger, and tribal loyalty, right? So so those things can be weaponized as well.
Right. So let's just say you walk down this evolutionary biology sense of why being tribal is good.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And being tribal is good for all the reasons we've discussed. But that can be weaponized also into ugly things. Mm-hmm. Now, we're not seeing that.
A little too much of us versus them.
Yes, exactly. And personally, I don't think we're seeing that as much as we're seeing the weaponization of empathy. But I get the argument that you can take tribal loyalty and push that and weaponize that to a point where it becomes an ugly problem as well.
And then, so there is the charge of anybody who says, well, we have immigration laws for a reason, and the very politicians who hate the laws are the ones that put the laws in place. Mm-hmm. You guys can go right back and you can close the whole border down with with 51% of the votes.
They could, but they won't.
They won't because they just like the issue.
Well, I've never quite understood why this is an 80-20 issue, and it has been since Ronald Reagan.
But why does it ever backfire on the politicians?
I know exactly. I don't understand this. It's been an 80-20 issue since Ronald Reagan. People have been saying we don't want more immigration. Stop the immigration. Stop the immigration. And Congress just keeps on doing it over and over and over and over again. It's totally unbelievable. So what it really comes down to is a very old problem, which is the balance between compassion and judgment, which is like a very ancient problem where you have, obviously you want to have compassion. At the same time, you have to have rules and you have to have consequences. And somewhere you have the intersection of those two where you're figuring out, well, how much compassion and how much judgment. Mm-hmm. And that's the underlying tension that's involved here. And you're always trying to find the balance, and what happens is you get out of balance and you get this sort of nonsense we have now where somebody who's been arrested 47 times gets released again and goes and murders a Ukrainian girl on the train.
Well, I think we also have a left-right view of the world in that do we have free will and we're able to construct our own circumstances, or do people have no agency and we're victims of circumstances? And if you have that view, then they are entitled to some of your benefits because they're just victims of their own circumstances. And yes, in some degree, I grew up in the United States of America in a loving household,
right?
And it's fantastic, and it's certainly a lot better than the guy who's in an orphan in Mumbai slum.
Right.
He didn't choose that. I didn't choose that.
Right.
But then to take that and say, therefore, it was, it's unfair.
Yeah.
We need to redistribute.
Yes.
The world's benefits, and so. No, it's not. There sometimes we'll argue that diversity is our strength, and we've been psyoped with that whole thing.
Yeah.
But they really don't care that it makes America worse, because maybe we deserve it.
Yeah.
And B, we are distributing our wonderful lives.
Yeah, and that gets into the whole question of the suicide of the West, and why has the West been so willing to accept all this nonsense? And part of it, I think, is this feeling of guilt.
Yeah.
That we've been blessed with so many things and the rest of the world hasn't been, and we owe something to them, and blah, blah, blah. So there is all that going on there, and I get that.
But it's suicidal.
But it is suicidal. And so, no, I didn't choose to be born in the rich United States, and this other guy didn't choose to be born there. And yes, we should have compassion on them, but within reasonable bounds.
Yes. Can we make that empathy slightly below suicide?
Yeah, I'm all in favor of the United States being a force for good in the world and helping other people. Right. And
we're extremely generous. The rich in America are extreme. They're not Scrooge McDucks swimming in pools of money. They're very generous.
And everybody who complains about we have all this wealth, are you kidding? The United States does more charity than anybody. We do so much charity to help the rest of the world.
This is my Mexico reference. Mexico has a lot of wealth.
Yeah.
A lot of rich people. Mm-hmm. They are not too big in charity. So if you go down, if there's an orphanage in Mexico, it's most likely supported by rich Americans and not rich Americans. We are very generous, but there's still a mindset, and it's getting as more this Marxist mindset that Marxist psyop that we're been suffering under has convinced us that we're not doing enough, to the point where basically we ought to kill ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
In a metaphorical sense.
Yes, and not only in a metaphorical sense. I mean,
but
I think Europe is killing itself.
Yeah, you have these. Oh, hold on. Where's here? It's so bad that I had no problem believing this article. It turns out it's not true.
Okay.
But tell me if you think that this sounds like it could be true.
Okay.
So here it is from a very respectable magazine.
Okay.
Why a rise in sexual assaults by immigrants is a price worth paying to end racism. I read that and I went, I have no problem believing that.
Yes.
This is great. It gets better, the subtitle.
Okay.
Quasi-consensual encounters between refugees and white Western women may help with assimilation. Increasingly, they result in a shared apartment and a new surname. I didn't even get this. I didn't even get the satire.
It's like the Babylon Bee. It's taking something that is definitely a theme, a meme, or whatever you want in culture, and just like putting it out there in such a ridiculous way.
Right.
And so it's very clever.
Because you'd have
it's very believable,
these like
unfortunately.
Conservative, robust German men who are tired of having their women molested, are like forming a guardian angel type groups, and the feminists are mad at them. They're like, we're only here to stop you from being groped. You're a conservative. You're a xenophobe and a racist.
You're a Nazi. Yeah.
Like, oh, all right. I mean,
sorry,
right,
we're trying to protect you, but
get yourself raped.
Go get yourself raped. Yeah, it's awful. So suicidal empathy is the main point, I think, is that empathy. There are very few things that are unrestricted goods that you can't. That if you take it, you can take things too far.
Yeah.
And empathy can be taken too far.
Yes.
And we've done it.
Yes. And opening your country up to other cultures in small groups that allow and gradually to allow them to assimilate, etc. Yes, is very nice, very good for them. People, and
it's good for us.
Good for us. But
opening the floodgates and bringing in millions of people
who have no interest in assimilating or no interest in being an American,
that's suicidal.
Who have already been schooled on how to milk the system before they even get here.
Right. They come. So there's the question of high trust and low trust societies,
they come from low trust.
And so they come from low trust societies, and they come here with the attitude: if I can steal, obviously I'm going to. Like, why wouldn't I?
Yes, you know, like the honor box where you're driving out in the country, and there's eggs and things in the box to put money in. Yeah, I mean that's what we do. We're Americans. Yeah. That's how we roll. You can't do it around these people.
No, because they'll just take it.
They're like, if you're that stupid, you deserve to have. That's
and that's so you can't. You can assimilate a few of those people and try to help them to learn our way. But you can't bring in
especially when you tell them this multiculturalism means you don't have to learn our way.
Right.
You just bring the culture that ruined your country, you just bring that in wholesale.
Bring that in here.
And it's going to work out just great.
Yeah. All right. So Gad Saad, thank you very much for...
Look up Gad Saad. He's got a podcast and books.
He's an interesting guy.
He's a smart guy.
Yeah. All right. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks so much for listening. Be sure to like this video and share it with your friends.